I think there's somebody at my door.
Hello, everyone.
I think there's somebody at my door. That's why they're barking.
Hi, everyone.
Hiya.
Hello.
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 There's Donna. Hi, Donna.
Hiya.
Has everyone got their videos on?
Yes, I have. Mine's gone off, sorry.
Oh, one's coming through. We've got Lynn. I can't see Lynn.
No, you can't see me.
Jennifer.
Is that,
Oh, I can see
we
Jennifer.
can see Jennifer.
Yes.
We can see you, Lynn, now. Yes,
And we can see
fabulous.
Lynn.
I've got it, everyone.
And we've got Donna as well. Yeah.
Hiya.
Hi, everyone. So we actually potentially wait. We're going to get started, but we are potentially waiting for a few more people. So maybe they'll join throughout. But I wanted to give you a quick introduction. I'm Georgie, and I'm from Naturo. And obviously, you're joining us because you've entered a competition to win your very own relationship Houndselling session. So thank you. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, I guess, for these really special and very much first of their kind relationship Houndselling sessions. So they're going to be combining specialist pet behavioural techniques from Leon and also human therapy techniques from Jack to sort of help you address any issues that you've got with your loved one, your little four-legged friend. So I am going to tell you a little bit about the brand, and then I'm going to hand over to Jax and Leon. They will introduce themselves, and then we'll get stuck into our sessions. Just so you know, I will be keeping an eye on time, so you might hear from me occasionally just saying, okay, moving on to the next subject, and just keeping things flowing, because we've got a lot to get
Leon
through
talks
in an
too
hour.
much.
So yeah, I will be here in the background. But so just to let you also know, these sessions are going to be recorded, but they will not be shared anywhere without your permission. So it's just for internal usage. So not to worry about that. So as I'm sure you're all probably aware of Naturo because you've come through to us via the website. It is a family-run business which definitely puts pets first more than anyone else. They've got a range of the most beautiful, natural and healthy food, as hopefully your dogs may or may not be eating at the moment, but everything that they produce is 100% natural. It's got high quality ingredients in it, like goji berries and sweet potatoes and broccoli and all that lovely stuff with lots of vitamins and minerals. One of the reasons we wanted to sort of conduct these sessions is I think that Naturo as a brand really understands that emotional connection that you have between you and your dog. And, you know, it's so special, it's so unique. And I think that is something we wanted to explore in a lot more detail with these sessions. With that in mind, they really wanted to help pet parents such as yourselves ease that, I guess, that really tricky transition that we're going into now. We've been in lockdown for almost a year and a half. The pandemic has sort of changed so much, and with that is probably going to come some issues for our pets and ourselves and things that we just want to tackle. So you are about to take part in a very unique class which is going to combine, you know, canine and human therapy to sort of help you address any pet problems that you might be having. Please get ready to talk about your issue. If you don't want to and you want to listen, that's fine, but the idea is here that everyone's going to go in turns and share their stories. Leon and Jax will feed in and help. And that's it really. I guess if you enjoy the sessions, we would absolutely love to hear about it. If you've got social media or want to let us know via email, feedback is much appreciated. But I will hand over to Jax and Leon for a quick introduction, and then we'll get started. So I'm going to start with Leon. Over to you for an intro.
Hi, Lynn. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi.
Hi, Donna.
Hiya.
You all ready to get the fix? Yeah?
Yes.
You'll all leave happily. That's what the plan is. So I'm Leon Towers. I'm a canine expert, and I deal with all your doggy needs and hopefully resolve the problem for you before the end of the call.
Great.
Hi, guys. So my name is Jax. I'm a psychotherapist. And one of the things that people don't realise that the greatest predictor of success when we're looking to make a change for the better is the quality of the relationship. So I've kind of got this done so I can see that as pet parents, we're wanting to be up here because, as Naturo says, you know, we're natural and we want to care for each other. So we're wanting to care for our dogs. But sometimes we think we're up here, but the dog might not be experiencing this, okay? So this is where we need help tuning into their dogginess. Okay, and Leon is the man, all his expertise and guidance to give us the dog perspective.
Right, who have we got first? Donna, how can we help?
So basically my dog, she's a little staff, her name's Lola, she'll be 2 in September. I've had her since she was 5 weeks old. When we first got her, she was a cute little thing. She was so radly and friendly with everyone. She weren't really going out for walks because she hadn't had her injections and that. By the time she did have her injections, we were in lockdown, so obviously times weren't right. When I first started to take her out for walks, I would always let her off the lead. Her recall was very good. She would always come straight back to me. She would be great with other dogs. All of a sudden, there was one day, and all of the other dogs where we live, they're quite handy-pandy dogs. So Lola being a staff and so she's gone running over to her group of friends one day. There was a few other dogs there that aren't normally there. One of them was a little puppy. Lola's jumped on it to start playing with it, but it looked quite boisterous. The owner got really scared, picked his dog up, started shouting at me. I had my little boy with me as well. It was really upsetting. I just had to walk away. I think after that, I didn't take her out for a couple of weeks because I was just so upset. I was taking her for walks, but we weren't going to the park. I wasn't letting her off the lead and things like that. Then I started to think we can't continue like this. So I did get a dog trainer, and I have got a dog trainer, and she has supported me a lot. With Lola now, she's a very good dog. She's got some very good qualities. My concerns with her is she's always pulling on the lead, and she likes to bark at people. It could be a dog, it could be a child, it could be a cyclist, it could be a runner. There's no sort of pattern to it. It's always different people. And I feel like she's got some form of dog anxiety rather than aggression, and I feel like she could also possibly have autism. I don't know if dogs have autism, but I'm just seeing all these traits in her, and to other people it does look aggressive. And when I'm walking down the street, she's great in the home, she's great with my little one, with my cat, with our kitten, she's great with all of that. So when I'm walking down the street and she's barking at other people, it doesn't look good that I've got my child next to this dog. I can't control this dog, it's pulling me. I'm doing all these strategies what my trainers taught me, but as I say, the barking and the pulling, that just doesn't appear to be getting any better. And I feel very upset that I can't let her off of a lead as well. Like, she's always got to be on the lead. I've got a long lead, so when I take her to the forest and that, she does have that space, but it's never off of a lead. I think also because I know she could sort of bark or go for someone at any time, that's possibly making me anxious. So rather than me feeling confident, as someone's going past, I'm just thinking in my head, when is she going to switch? And I'm feeling that she can sense that anxiety through me, and that's probably making her worse.
Okay, so take a deep breath. The trainer that you've got, what are they doing with regards to her barking at cyclists and people and dogs and everything? What are they doing?
So it's just meant to be that I'm meant to be more aware before it happens and have treats for her and give her a treat to make her pair that person with something nice. But the thing is, when Lola's so anxious, she won't take a treat.
Okay. And did the trainer say to keep giving her the treat as the person goes past?
Yeah.
Yeah? And it isn't working?
Well, it depends, because sometimes it can work very well, but if Lola's anxious at that time, I'm using the word anxious, I don't know if I'm saying the right thing or not.
So it's...
when she's in that situation and feeling like that, she won't take any treats, and the only thing you can do is take her into a quiet place, stroke her back, really calm her down, and spend ages doing that. But where we live, it's very busy. You haven't always got the time, and do you know what I mean?
And what's happening is, when you're obviously, you want to give her cuddles and stuff, and keep her calm and all the rest of it, that's it's a double-edged sword, because when that's happening and she's anxious and she sees the trigger that's setting her off, if you're stroking her and comforting her, you're feeding into that behavior. So you're actually rewarding that behavior. So, dogs go by tones. If you're saying, good girl, it's fine, honestly, there's nothing to worry about, they've gone past, look, it's just a cyclist, or something like that, that's no different than saying, good girl, well done, that's really good. I love it when you get really stressed when you see cyclists. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you're almost rewarding that anxious behavior. Now, the thing is with training, so what your dog has got is fear aggression. That's what it's called. It's not anxiety, it's fear aggression. Okay. So what fear aggression means is they get agitated, they get anxious, and it's the fear of not knowing. Now, although she was fine when you had her off the lead at the start until she started playing with that puppy, and no doubt the puppy screamed as if it was being murdered, because they do the kind of, and it just makes it sound like terrible, but she was just playing. The problem you've got is, how old is she now?
She'll be 2 in September.
Okay, so just to give you this information, I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but a dog being taken away from the parent at 5 weeks old is going to cause problems up to 2 years later. Yeah, so
I haven't thought of that. I was thinking, was she possibly mistreated before we got her? But then I thought no one would do that when she was so young. I didn't think of that.
So 5 weeks old, I'll let Jax explain the human side of it. When a baby's taken away from the mum, and it's attachment disorder, separation. And I'll let you explain that, Jackson, then I'm going to come back and explain what's happening with the dog.
Yeah, I mean, interestingly, just to, what Leon is saying, it sounds like some kind of PTSD. And what they've identified with human babies is there's a thing called pre-verbal trauma. So it happens so early on, it's implicit, it's stored in the body. So one of the things, so there's that going on. And then also it sounds like you had a situation, I did this earlier, but I'll use it again, is see, that's our window of tolerance. Well, it sounds like given what happened to her, so again, if we think of post-traumatic stress, it looks like she's getting triggered and she's going into, well, I've written fight or flight, but I've learned.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But I've learned from Leon, you'd call that fear anxiety, would you?
Yes, fear.
What did you say? Aggressive fear. You said as
fear aggression.
Fear aggression, and I think also what I'm hearing from you, and again, I guess there's something about feeling. You're probably feeling anxious and self-conscious, and I'm wondering if you're feeling, I've got my child here. What does it look like? I'm walking around this really aggressive dog.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's a horrible feeling to have. But I'm sure Leon will give you the skills to hold and manage yourself in a way that you're secure and confident. So you get that.
Secure and safe, yeah.
Secure and safe. So you contain your dog, but not, as Leon says, feed the anxiety.
So when you're taking her to the side and, like I said, you're comforting her, that's the immediately thing you're going to do, like you would do with your child. But look at her as a 3-year-old toddler, okay? Because dogs have the mental age of a 3-year-old child. Okay, now
duration or just while they're
forever.
Oh, okay.
So that's the problem. We call them puppies and then they're an adult now. They're never an adult. This is the mistake that we make as humans. Dogs have the mental age of a 3-year-old toddler, and even when they're 20 years old, they still have the needs of a 3-year-old child, and that's the mistake we make. Now, because she was taken away at 5 weeks old, she has missed a massive part of her socialization skill. From 5 weeks to 8 weeks, they're the weeks that develop her brain with the mum and the puppies. So the fact she was taken at 5 weeks old, this behavior doesn't show up until they've matured at 18 months old. When a dog's 18 months old, they've reached their hormonal balance. So what's happened to her is, although you think the trigger was the puppy, that wasn't the trigger. The trigger was already there at 5 weeks old, and her brain hadn't developed properly in a social aspect. And I see you're pinning it to that, but what I'm saying is she'll have had that instilled in her before you even got her, because she was taken away too early. A dog should be at least 8 weeks old before they're taken away, because...
I was just going to say, Leon, it sounds like you're saying it's the same in humans. It's kind of use it or lose it. If they
it's an attachment. It's an attachment disorder. Attachment, right. It's like when a baby's taken away from the mum, and I can speak for this. I was brought up in an orphanage, so I was taken away at 6 weeks old, and it does cause an attachment disorder, whether you've experienced a bad experience or not, because as a toddler you can't remember all that way back. But it does affect your relationships in the future. And with dogs, it's not apparent until they're 18 months old and older.
And
okay.
I guess is it true to say that the good news is that the brain's plastic? So like a human being, we can wire over. We can do the same with our dogs. So
what you're doing with the trainer, and she said about feeding, that's good. But the fact she's so anxious, I would suggest that you do one at a time. So write a list. Cyclists, runners, dogs, people, children, and just go through one at a time. And for example, go to a park where the cyclists, okay? Somewhere where you can sit on a park bench with some food, Naturo treats, you can use cheese, a high value treat, something that smells really, really strong. And I call it drip feeding. So this is a technique that I've developed myself. Because trying to feed a dog, like you say, as soon as she sees the trigger, that's it. The anxiety takes over and the aggression. So you need to have her in a calm situation on a park bench, away from the cycle path, but close enough for her to see it. And you're sitting with her, giving her lots of praise before the cyclist even comes. And you're praising her and praising her and praising her, and what I call is drip feeding. So you're feeding her the whole time. And as soon as she sees that cyclist in like 100 meters, that's exactly what we want, because we're changing her thought process. Subconsciously, she's being brainwashed because she will associate the cyclist with the food. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's all right trying to give your dog a treat when the cyclist comes around the corner, but it's too late. We want her to see the cyclist like right over there, and do that until she's done that. Do like a 10-15 minute session every day or every other day just with cyclists. And then once you've got that one, then move on to children, then move on to dogs. Because what's happening is she's got all of them anxieties, she's got all of that fear aggression about all of these things. And it's just like chucking 100 problems in the air and trying to catch them all. You can't do it. I would do one at a time.
Right. And then adding to that, where you're saying about the attachment stuff, like, is there anything I can do? Like, that makes perfect sense now that you're saying that. I've never thought of that before.
So she's going to be attached to you in an unhealthy way, because we're humans and they're dogs, and we're a different species. And although we treat them as 3-year-old toddlers, it's important for her to have independent skills, especially because she was taken away from her mum too early. So I would enroll her into a daycare or with a dog walker with 4 or 5 other dogs, and just build her up that way. Build her up slowly. Don't just chuck it in, because we set our dogs up to fail. You know, it would terrify her going into a room full of dogs all at once. But if you can work on the stuff with cyclists and runners and prams and all them kind of things, and also once a week, twice a week, she's going with a dog walker in a nice, calm environment, away from parks, in a field somewhere, just to build her confidence up and to get her more independent.
I think I would be worried her going with a dog walker in case she did bite one of the other dogs or do something to one of the other dogs. And sorry, can I just add that about 2 months ago now, I did get her neutered because I thought that would make her better, and that's actually made her worse.
Of course, it's made her worse.
2 weeks, she's got this little piggy toy, and for the first 2 weeks, she was holding it like a baby, and she was crying to the point I had to take it from her because it was upsetting her so much. And
again,
I feel
that
like
was the
she's just got worse.
That was the attachment disorder kicking in, taking her back to when she was 5 weeks old. A dog should never be neutered until they're 18 months old. And when they're 18 months old, if they've got issues, you don't neuter them. You have to resolve the issues before you neuter them. Now,
I was told by my dog trainer that I should neuter her and this would make it better. And the only reason I didn't do it sooner was because I had missed the dates. I didn't know what date she had started, so that's why.
As a dog psychologist, a dog has to mature up to 18 months old. The hormones are up and down, up and down, up and down. So if you've got a nervous dog and then you get them neutered, you make them nervous 10 times more, because their hormones are what keeps them in confidence. And that little bit of confidence they have, when you take away the estrogen or the testosterone, it actually takes the confidence away as well. So I would do what I said and just try all the different ones one by one. Just tick each one off the list. And even if it takes you 6 weeks to get her used to cyclists, that's fine, because once you've changed the thought process, you can then move on to children. Because once you've changed it, it doesn't unravel again. It stays as a positive reinforcement.
Yeah.
Okay. Hope that helps.
And what about the pulling on the lead?
I would be dealing with them things first. If you want to get in touch with me on my website, leontowers.co.uk, via email, whatever, I wouldn't even be worrying about the pulling on the lead yet, because that's the least of your problems. I would resolve the psychological stuff first.
So would I be allowing her to pull then? Because what I usually do is I'll either stop for 2 seconds or we'll walk back and then walk forwards again. So
I would concentrate more on going to a park and sitting on a bench and desensitizing her to things. Put that in your head as your main concern. So even if she's pulling, don't let that annoy you or don't get frustrated with it. Just think to yourself, right, we're going to a park bench. This is our 15 minutes training and this is what we're here to do. So if she pulls you all the way to the bench, I really wouldn't worry about it just now, because once you've got rid of them other issues, it'll be so easy to fix the pulling. I could literally do that in 2 minutes.
But don't sweat the small stuff in this context.
Yeah, honestly, the pulling on the lead, you want her head to be solid and confident.
Okay. Just to
Okay.
check with you, things that my dog trainer has said, like I do things like I say to her, look at me, and she looks at me and gives me good eye contact. I
Yeah.
put my hands like that for her to come, and she puts her nose. Is little techniques like that. Are they positive things that I should be
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Because you're tuning in with your dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, they all help. They all help. Anything positive, just nothing negative. And because she's so scared of so many things, it's just too much. It's an overload. You need to deal with one at a time.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. Who's next?
Shall I go? Should I go now?
Yes, Lynn. Hey.
Lynn.
Thank you. It was interesting listening to that because some of it relates as well.
Okay.
Sorry, I'll try and be concise because we're talking about our son's dog, who is 13 years old,
Ah.
Cocker Spaniel. We're very used to dogs, never had any problems with any dogs. They've been trained, they've been loved. This dog was bought by our daughter-in-law as a knee-jerk reaction to a trauma in her life.
Okay.
We both said to them, do not bring your dog home until it's about 9-10 weeks old.
Yeah.
They got it at 7 weeks. And we think the poor dog's had problems with that ever since.
Absolutely.
Anyway, fast forward, they go to work. So her grandparents have the dog daytimes, they have them evenings and weekends. Then for some reason that stopped. And we said, you cannot leave your dog on its own when it's been used to people all day. So by then we were retired. So we took over having the dog 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, for holidays, for weekends they were away. And so he stayed here lots, so no problems. Now, in December, son and daughter-in-law split up.
Oh.
Even though it's her dog, she said, I don't want the dog, you can take him.
Oh, wow.
What a lovely, anyway, that's by the by.
Yeah.
So, dog and son appear at our house. Now, unfortunately, the same weekend they came, the poor dog had a stomach upset.
Oh.
And so for me, there was too much going on for this poor dog all at once. So we tried to keep it calm. We tried to do the routines we've always done with him. But his daddy was living here and he couldn't get his head around it. He kept going, waiting for his dad to come in from work like he would have done at his dad's house. Then at night times, he would sleep where he normally sleeps, but then go and look for his dad. Anyway, fast forward again. Dad's got his own house, moved in last week. We said he's not coming with you till we do it gradually, and we put his own bed in your house, and we do that. We've taken him for an hour, we've taken him for 2 hours. My husband put treats in his new bed in our son's house today, so we'd go and put his own smell on the bed for when he gets there. But he's still really anxious, and he's changed his eating habits. And I'm not just saying this because it's Naturo. He loves Naturo. He's fake. He used to be turkey, but ever since he was poorly, and we think it was turkey that made him poorly at Christmas with them, he's now won't eat at normal times. He's eating late at night. We're trying to stop that. But this, okay. I don't want to do too many things with him at once.
Okay, so I'm going to make it easy for you.
You're right.
Very, very easy. Again, I explained on another call, dogs don't know the time, okay? We only know the time because we got taught the time at school. Exactly. So we humanize it and we think, oh, we'll put them there for an hour, then we'll do 2, then we'll do 3. Yeah. It doesn't matter. So taking the human element out of it, it's kinder to just do the new routine because he won't know whether he's coming or going. And basically what's happening is, rightly so, as a pet parent, you're really worried and concerned and you just want it to be a nice transition. But because you're so concerned and you're so worried, it's actually creating anxiety for the dog. It would actually be easier. I don't know if you know this. Some people don't agree, but this is a fact. Dogs only have a 72-hour memory, okay? So that makes it easy when we're doing and changing a routine, because if you change the dog's routine, just one day you get up, you completely change the routine, their brain resets again in 72 hours. So that would become their new routine. But because we fuss and worry and we humanize it, we're actually faffing around and we're actually making it worse. We're actually creating a bigger problem. Whereas I'm trying to put your mind at rest by saying after 3 days, a dog forgets. They only remember with a trigger. So him waiting for your son to come in from work, if you changed his routine that didn't involve that, or him being able to stand at the doorway waiting for him to come in, after 3 days, that routine would completely change. It would be a new routine immediately.
And it's interesting saying that, because as human beings, they say if somebody comes into an organization, actually the staff feel much more secure if they're going to make changes, if they make them straight away and they make
immediately.
Yeah, I know about that. I mean, you obviously know far more than me, and I understand that. However, I would say that I understand that us doing things can make you more anxious. I totally agree with everything you've said there.
Okay.
However, I would say we might still be transmitting anxiety, I don't know, but we've had so many dogs that, we've never had a problem before.
Right, so...
Yeah, we just said, right, we're ignoring him. I said, if he's not eating, and that's all the two.
Right. I'm gonna really help you with this one very quickly. Okay, 10-minute rule.
Yeah, you bring it out.
You bring it out. You put it down.
You take it away. We've done it.
10 minutes to eat it. Yeah, but how long did you last?
Oh, for quite a while. We're quite tenacious in that respect. We would.
How many days?
Probably not enough then, from the way you're saying it.
So what happens is, a dog, we, again, as humans, we panic because we think, oh my God, I'm going to starve my dog. My dog's going to starve to death. So of course you worry. A dog is not programmed to starve themselves. It's impossible.
That's what my husband says.
It's impossible. Honestly, dogs they ratch around, they're scavengers. If he was hungry, he would eat. And what we find is we're giving them little treats through the day, not realizing if we're giving treats and he's eating them, then he's not starving, is he?
No, so we don't do that.
No, so literally put the food down, 10 minutes to eat it, and if he doesn't eat it, you lift it and he loses that meal. You don't give him double at dinner time.
Right. Well, that's
okay, he loses that. And if you stick to it, I promise you, once he eats that, he will slurp it up as quick as anything.
Right. Yeah.
And the other thing I would say,
what we're doing wrong is we're not persevering.
You need to persevere and remember to yourself, if he's hungry, he will eat.
Well, my husband says that, and then and we've done that, bringing it out 10 minutes, taking it away. Then, of course, I'm going,
but then you put it back in an hour, or I'll give him another 10 minutes.
Well, no, but perhaps in another 3 hours we might.
Yeah, so Dawn, breakfast time, 10 minutes, gone. Dinner time, 10 minutes, gone. And what I'll also say is, I would change to the chicken. Yeah, we've got the senior chicken, we've got the senior turkey and the chicken light, and the because
you
were saying about the stomach upset, I would stop the duck. I would change the duck.
Oh, I have to say, and I'm not saying this because it's us, he's never had a stomach upset with us ever. He came to us with a stomach upset.
Right, okay.
It was a turkey human dinner, I think they'd given him.
Oh, well, there you go.
You see, and we don't. And
no.
He has a mix. He has a mix for you of the little duck, the senior turkey, the light, the chicken light, and he likes them all. But I
think I'll come and move in with you.
Leon, would it be right to say sometimes we think we're giving our dog a treat with human food and we're actually not?
Yes,
no, well, we don't. Okay. We don't.
But it sounds like Lynn's on top of that.
We are. The only human food he has as a treat is that I sometimes cook him a plain chicken fillet.
Oh, that's fine. I'm definitely coming to live with you.
Oh, right, persevere.
Persevere, and Dawn, it's not cruel, it's kind. You're being kind. Sorry, my phone's fallen off.
On the anxiety thing, we go back to having him 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, and his dad has him nights and weekends.
But what I would do is, to make it easier, have like a 4-day at some point, arrange it, plan it, where he goes to your son, and he's there for 4 days.
Well, we can do that next week because he's off.
And then we have reprogrammed his brain, and he will understand when he's at your son's, that's his routine, and when he's at yours, that's his routine. He will have a definitive routine at your son's and at yours.
Thank you so much.
You are so welcome, Lynn. I'm going to find out your address and come round for some Naturo dinner, I think.
But you see, if the dog's not with Lynn for 72 hours or more, will it not forget her routines then?
Yeah.
If what, sorry?
If the dog's not with Lynn for 72 hours or more, will it forget the routine that she has installed at us?
But dogs don't have memory, so it's triggers. So as soon as he sees Lynn, the trigger is slotting right into her routine. It's as simple as that.
And the trigger will be chicken fillet.
The what?
The trigger will be chicken fillet.
Yeah, he knows where he's best off.
He won't want to go out.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Right, Jennifer.
Hi. No, I've been learning a lot just listening in of general tips there. Basically, well, I'm a first-time pet parent. This is our first dog.
Oh, congratulations.
I have wanted a dog since I was a child. The children have wanted them since babies, but I had to wait until they're all teenagers now so we could cope. 8-week-old Labrador we got just before Christmas. It was a Christmas present last year. And they were all off school, of course, with the lockdowns. He's used to having a lot of hyperactivity around the place and whatnot. The problem for us now is when he's out, he hasn't had a lot of, meeting other dogs, other people, because there hasn't been many people out in the streets and stuff.
Yeah.
He's not anxious. He's hyperactive. I can't, he's so excitable. He'll be jumping up. He's mouthing them a lot. Little dogs, he'll try and get their whole heads in his mouth. It's playful. It's not like he's trying to be aggressive, but it's quite intimidating. And he's a big, strong, 11-month-old lab. He's strong. He would pull me in the lead. I don't have a lot of my daughter's better with him.
Okay.
Confident, but obviously I'm going to be the one that's going to be taking this on board when she goes back properly to school. He would pull me. I have a week back, and it's when he's seeing other dogs, he'll either race forward or else he sits when he sees them in the distance. And then he started this lying down in the pounce position.
That's play. Yeah.
I've had leashed and tangled with other dogs, and there's accidents waiting to happen, and I just need some structure as to how do I manage these problems, keep people safe, get them to learn. Easy
peasy. Okay.
Well, compared to everybody else,
I'm gonna let Jax explain first, because I think it's always important for pet parents to understand the equivalent of what it will be doing to a human. Yeah. So Jax, can you explain to Jennifer how a child would act if they were homeschooled and they never came into contact with other children apart from when they go to the park? You maybe take them there 15 minutes a day and they go to the park and they play with their friends. What kind of social skills would they have?
Well, I mean, it's the same thing as, how do I fit in around here? And even human beings are like, what have I got to do to survive?
And would you agree, children, when they've not been socialised properly, that they would cling on? Some of them would be scared, but others would cling on. They'd see other children, they'd be like, "Oh my God, I love you! You're my new best friend."
Do you know one of the things that can see quite a lot is children can be very anxious, say, and the parents, because they think they're doing the best thing, decide to homeschool the child, so they get into an avoidance procedure, and all that happens is their anxiety gets raised and raised and raised. So it is better. It's about encouraging them to be braver, and the only way out is through. So I'm kind of hearing you, Leon, say it's similar with dogs, not to avoid it, but to go into it and help them get through it.
So for you, Jennifer, a perfect fix for this. And I know there's people at home and you don't need daycare for your dog. I would encourage daycare, because what's happening is he's getting so excited and so excitable, just like that child that never gets to play with other kids. And they're like, "Oh, I've got a new best friend. I want to come and live with me. I want to love you forever." Yeah, that's exactly what he's doing when he sees other dogs. The excitement just takes over. And if he was to go to a daycare centre 2 times a week, even just for half a day, 5 hours a day, and you want a group environment where there's like 10, 20, 30 dogs, I can assure you, I promise you, I'll put my career on the line on this one. After 3 to 4 weeks of taking him somewhere 2 days a week, you will see a completely different dog. And what happens is, because he's so used to socializing with them and it's enriching his life and he's got that fulfillment, other dogs on a walk really aren't that exciting anymore.
Wow.
Yeah, that's it. Now, he will actually be going into day. If I myself start college, you know,
Yeah.
I'm a full-time mum at the minute. So he's had all that. I was going to put him into daycare, but it's interesting you say that would help, because I was saying to my daughter about trying something, and she was worried. But how would he
Some people
behave?
think it'll make them worse.
Yeah, she was saying that's what I want. It's
No.
interesting to hear.
No.
Because when you put them into those places, how much supervision do you sort of think those dogs are just in a big crowded room and they're not getting supervised?
And they are, right? So the difference between us and dogs, we're humans, they're dogs, completely different species. Dogs need to interact with their own species. So when we have a child that doesn't get to interact with other children so much, that can have a detrimental effect on their mental health. But for a dog, it's even worse, because we can't sit a dog down and kind of rationalize things with them, okay? So only dogs can teach dogs how to interact and how to socialize, and teaching manners to each other. Because dogs communicate with each other telepathically. They don't just do it through ears and tails, which is why they have no voices. If you stand and watch a group of 10 to 20 dogs in a room, which I did for 10 years, you will see them speaking to each other without actually doing anything. So when we see daycare centres with no toys in there, I would encourage you to take your dog to a centre where there is no toys. Humans need toys to interact with dogs. Dogs do not need toys to interact with dogs. They play together. They don't need human things. So when you look at the daycare and you think, oh my God, that looks really boring. It's just a big room with a couple of ramps and 30 dogs. That is doggy heaven.
But what if the dog then becomes like bites another dog, or it gets bitten?
Has he ever bitten another dog?
Not at all. I mean, he would bite sort of more the humans when he's meeting adults.
Yeah.
But
So
he hasn't quite. We've been sitting there. He mouths them, but he's not clamping down on them.
He just wants to play. He just wants to play.
I know
and
that, but when I'm out with them and people are looking, like, I'm very fearful now myself. And he obviously he can sense me. And if I lack confidence and I'm a bit highly strung myself, like, oh, how do I manage this? I'm standing rigid with the dog now.
I can picture him on the lead, like a coiled spring, like a box of frogs on the end of the lead, and you're like this all over the place. Is that right?
I wonder, Jennifer, this is such a wanted dog. It wasn't, that I wonder if that's made you worry about getting it absolutely right.
Well, I was like that with my kids as well.
Okay.
I was very much on my own bringing them up, and it's interesting hearing what you're saying about the dogs, because I know I've got my youngest has a bit of social anxiety, and I go, gosh, it's like and maybe it's hard to differentiate sometimes between the kids and the dogs, which is totally different.
There's actually a book called A Good Enough Parent, so maybe we need to be good enough pet parents.
That's what they mean.
Yeah.
But what do I do meantime? Do I just go with
Get him into a daycare? Don't put it off with your own anxiety. I completely understand. I can actually feel the sicky feeling you've got in your stomach right now. I can actually feel it.
Okay. I never put a child in the daycare.
So I know, but your children went to school.
Real growth for you.
Your children went to school, though, didn't they?
He'd be tired when he came home.
He will be wrecked, and mentally, he'll be so exhausted. You will have a much happier dog, and I promise you.
Finding he doesn't get enough mental stimulation now at home.
Yes,
because
he hasn't got enough mental stimulation
all the time. He's a working breed. Yeah.
So you, if I took him for a run, 20 miles a day, 7 days a week, he would still pull on the lead and yank to get to them other dogs. Whereas if you took him to a daycare and left him there 2 days a week, I can assure you now, he would be exhausted.
Is going to a daycare much more beneficial than meeting a large group of dogs at the park?
Yes, absolutely. Because, especially for your little one, because again, she's got fear aggression. Now, fear aggression is something that a good daycare centre would understand, okay? So with my clients, I always phone the daycare centres for them because I understand when the human phones the centre, they make the dog sound like a monster, you know? And it's not, it's just fear aggression. And the reason a daycare works is because they're all off the lead, they can all interact with each other, they're not fearful because it's fight or flight, they can flight because they've got a big open space to do it. Yeah, and that would build up their confidence, and a good daycare centre would understand that.
So I think, guys, just jumping in here on that note, felt like a good place to jump in. We are almost running out of time. Thank you so much. I hope you had your problems answered. And what I'm going to do is hand over to Jax, I think, just to go through a couple of bits of the human aspects. I know everyone's problems have been quite different, but I think there are some key sort of takeaways that Jax will be able to share. And then we will say goodbye. As I said, if you've got any feedback, we'd love to hear it. If you want to share anything about how you felt about this on social media, we'd love to hear it. We're at Naturo Pet Food on Twitter and Instagram. But other than that, I hope you've had a really useful session. Hope you found it productive. And hope your problems are sort of going to get solved. But I will just hand over to Jax for some parting words.
So one of the things, I don't know if I showed you this one, but I think it's the same with our children as well. It's about us holding this position. So we're offering containment. And so the dog feels safe and secure and contained. And I noticed, Donna, when you were talking about, you had a bit of anxiety about handing your dog over to someone in case something happened. Did I hear that right?
Yeah, I think Jennifer said that, but yeah, I would feel
Yeah,
the same as well, yeah.
I was saying, yeah, if you went to daycare and there was an incident or something.
Yeah, and I think what we're doing there is we're projecting our fear into the future, and but I think trust the process, and if we have a safe other and we choose that person responsibly, I think it's also a good thing for us to kind of relinquish a bit of control. And then we will learn to be, then we get to, it's like handing your child over the first day. And it's interesting, Jennifer, you said you didn't do that. But actually, you know, the dog needs that and we need that. Otherwise, if you think about any relationship, if we don't have any space in the relationship or any system where it's really enmeshed and closed, it struggles. Does that make sense? We need to have some space, some oxygen, and the joy, and think the joy that they'll get from this new person and all the different smells. So, I mean, I'm sure Leon would say, you know, choose a safe other, choose carefully. But yeah, so it's lovely to meet you all, and it's lovely to meet people whose relationships with their dogs are so important.
Thank you.
Great to meet you all. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you all.
Bye-bye.
See you
Take
soon.
care.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.